Welcome back to the show, folks. I got my cousin Anika here from Philly. What's going on,
Hello.
cuz? How you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm
All is
doing
well.
fantastic. So,
Great, great.
yeah, last time we had you on, you were telling me, you were telling the audience about your wedding planning and event planning. So, a few things that I noticed towards the tail end of last year, there were a lot of people who were catching up with their postponed wedding plans and stuff like that post COVID or tail end of COVID. So
Right.
is that still kind of in play right now?
I think a lot of people are now starting to go through with their wedding plans. So a lot of people, from what I've seen, are doing a lot of destination weddings. So that's what's kind of happening. But people are planning weddings. I have been to a wedding. I have officiated a wedding. So
Already
yeah,
this year?
yes, I
Oh wow! People starting early spring, early weddings.
yes.
How about that? No, that's cool. That's cool. So yeah, because I'm still out there driving, people around, doing ride share when I'm not doing
Okay.
this, and so yeah, I totally hear people talking about their plans going to this wedding, going to that wedding, and oddly enough,
Yeah.
some people are getting overwhelmed with this because they're like, oh my god, I've got 5 weddings to go to in this 6 week period, or that's a lot.
I think people are there. They're definitely ready to get back to some type of normalcy. COVID definitely did a number on a lot of us. So I'm definitely seeing a lot of plans happening for whether it was retirement parties or just birthday parties or anything that they had to postpone, from graduations and so forth. So the events are definitely happening and taking place, from baby showers to bridal showers, you name it. They're planning again.
some
They're
type of
back in place.
celebration, some type of celebration or something, right?
Yes, they are. People are out and about now celebrating. Yes, they are. So that's it's a good thing because to get people's spirits back up again, which was much needed due to all of the challenges that we had during COVID, and like loved ones lost and so forth. So that was
Right.
definitely a tough thing.
And I would definitely say some mental health issues with people being on lockdown for what, 2 years, 2.5 years.
Right. So it definitely played a part on people's mental health, with being those who are used to being out and about or spending time with their family. But I feel like with COVID, whatever depression or anxiety or whatever it was you were already dealing with, COVID kind of pushed it out because there was
Right.
always a saying that 2020 was the year of clear vision and intentionalities. So whether it was clear vision in a positive way or a negative way or just an aha moment, you had your clear vision. You had your clear vision about what people's intentions were towards you or for you, whether they were for you or against you. You found out a lot of things, on top of our heartaches and losses of loved ones. So even myself, and then we had some discoveries like, hey, it's time for me to start that business. It's time for me to, branch out on my own, do my own thing, and get out of my own way. So I think COVID was that blessing slash curse in a sense, but it definitely played on people's mental standpoint as well. It just kind of opened up their eyes to what was already being suppressed.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally get what you're saying there. So, do you? This is kind of this an opinion question. But do you think that that's had anything to do with? Seems like there's been a recent spike in shootings and mass shootings and homicides and all sorts of stuff. So, do you think that's maybe somewhat tied into this being a side effect of the pandemic, or what are your thoughts on
I
that?
mean, we've had these issues that happen unfortunately throughout time. I mean,
Sure.
before COVID. So some of this stuff was happening before COVID, during and after. It's just sad that it is happening. Period. I don't think that it really played any part to COVID of why people
Okay.
are acting out. That's something that's already suppressed in you. If you were picked on as a child and now you're older, you're talking about 3 years fast forward from the time COVID was, detected and put us on lockdown to Now some of these people have graduated from high school. So if you were bullied before COVID and you still
Yep.
had those suppressed feelings, it's unfortunate. But these issues are not just from COVID. Like, we can't keep pointing the blame at COVID. This is something that people were already dealing with. It's just that, yeah, with people being locked down and having to spend time with their selves in reality, yeah, a lot of stuff came up to the water. Like, all that stuff that was suppressed down came floating up to the surface. So now we're seeing everything float up to the surface that was already suppressed down, that was acting as if it was hiding in plain sight. No, it was already there. It's a sad thing, but it was already there. I don't want to. It's hard to keep pointing it at COVID, COVID this, COVID that. COVID wasn't
You bring
even.
a good point there, because it's like taking some pond water, putting it in the glass, and then everything settles. You think, oh, we got clean water, and then you shake it up. Oh, no, it ain't clean. So,
Right. It's still dirty. Right. It's still
yeah,
dirty at the end of
still
the day.
dirty. All right.
Right. So we can't keep saying COVID this, COVID that. Now, did COVID mess with some people and their health issues? Of course it did. We all kind of experienced something to the side effect of having COVID or dealing with a loved one that had COVID. But let's not say that COVID like screwed up everybody's mental health. No, your mental health was already your mental health, period. So we're
People
not
just
going to
using it as an excuse.
it's an excuse, right? It's just an
Yeah.
excuse. And then, like, how do you point your finger at COVID? Like, oh yeah, COVID is going to give me a pass from all of my dirty deeds. No, it's not.
Right.
It's like, it's like being a kid and you be like, my parents spanked me, and now I'm an adult, and now I'm going to just act a fool because my parent. No, you get in trouble. You get in trouble. You do wrong. You pay the price for doing wrong. Period. So I mean,
Right.
it is like I'm not glorifying punishments or any of that type of thing, but let's call a spade a spade. Like, this was already
Right.
happening, just like you said with the water. If it's mud in the water, and just because it looked clean on the surface, is shake it up, it's still mud at the end of the day.
Still mud in the water. Still dirty water.
It is
And like
definitely.
you bring up a good point about like even parenting. And I saw this saying that, well, the way that people parent these days is different. And the saying, I'm just going to paraphrase, was basically saying, well, the reason why parenting is different these days is because the world that children live in today is different than it was back when we were growing up.
The only thing that's different with the children today is they're in an informational generation. Everything is technology based. We didn't have all of
Yeah.
that when we grew up. We still had dial-up phone, rotary phones.
Oh yeah,
We
we
were
did.
lucky. Yeah, listen,
We
we
went
were lucky.
outside and played. God forbid.
Right,
We rode
yes. How
bikes.
dare you go
Y'all used to
outside
do
and
double
actually
dutch.
play
I
double
mean,
dutch, jumping
yeah.
jacks, or hopscotch? How dare you go outside and do some normal activities as a child, right? Throw a frisbee or a ball, right? How dare you do
Yeah.
that? Go play hide and seek with your friends. So, that's the only difference with this generation, is that they're informational generation. They have the need to know, and it's not so much a bad thing to have them know, because we came from a generation of I just told you so, I,
Right.
because I said so, and because our parents said because I said so, we didn't ask any more questions. It's time to
Right.
go to bed. Why? Because I told you it's time to go to bed. Okay, I'm just going to bed. Let me go to bed now. Now these kids want to know why they got to go to bed. It's still early. Why I got to go at this time? What you mean? I can get, like, it's a whole to do. And now you got to find yourself explaining, like, listen, I need you to get your 8 hours of rest because you don't like to wake up in the morning. Like, you find yourself in a whole debate with a child, and it's like, take it behind the bed. Like, I got some adult stuff I want to do, whether it's watch TV, relax, or just as long as you go to bed and get out of my face for the moment.
Or get my secret stash of ice cream. Just like
Right?
whatever. Go to
Like, yes, I'm about to eat my
bed.
Ben Jerry's, watching some Grey's Anatomy, and please go to bed. Like, it's my turn now. I have done everything I need to do with you for the day. Go to bed. Like, so this generation, they have a need to know, and there's nothing wrong with them having a need to know, but the discipline
Mm.
still has to be there. There still has to be structure in the home. There's still, like, even with my children, they're 90s babies, but when cell phone